Hello, this is Friendly Cat. We're going to be doing a Brazil Hearts of Iron 4 achievement run. Primarily, we'll be doing the bad ending, but we'll be picking up a lot of other achievements as well. Brazil is a lot of fun, so let's pick up the major achievements we'll be looking for is bad ending. We'll also be picking up the stake smoked, which means as Brazil, with in a faction with UK, we will control or capitulate Germany. Bad ending, we will control the whole world. And then we'll also pick up Mariban, which means we do need to run a communist Brazil right side. And then we'll pick up a whole host of other communist related achievements for Brazil and the South American countries. Because we'll be going into a civil war, let's go ahead and disband those troops, start the usual research of infantry guns and industry to increase our efficiency. And yeah, we've got a long way to go. Let's create our intelligence agency, and we're going to eventually set up collaboration governments on the United States and then later on Russia. We want to make sure that we ask for docking rights from Honduras. That way we can naval invade Mexico later. That gives us the range for our naval ships. We'll continue on down. Once we complete the next research slot, that'll give us political power. Let's take this political power advisor. He gives us a fair amount of political power, which we will need a lot in this run, and it reduces the political power costs of our other advisors. Now, I would advise you to try to take the path I'm going down, take the focuses in the order that I'm taking them, at least in the beginning, so we get a very smooth civil war. So we're going to continue down right side again, but before we take that next communist related, let's pop up and let's take over the aftermath of the coffee crisis, and later on we will take the focus that gives us a radio and more stability and research. When we have our next 100 political power, let's take improved worker conditions to improve our stability. We have a very long run ahead of us, and so stability is helpful. The next two research, or really the last other real critical ones in my opinion, include Marines. Marines remain very powerful, and we'll be using them heavily in this run. The last of our focuses before we continue down our political path is that focus that increases our efficiency cap, or we have a very really relative heavy efficiency cap malice, so this will help us create a lot of guns and other military equipment for our long run ahead. And now we can start moving toward the Civil War. We meet certain communist level requirements. We want to spend another 100 political power to pick up the Army Defense Expert for the Army experience. That will be very helpful in our divisions, and the Army Defense guy is not too bad. Here we are, just about time to go into our Civil War. 70 days, so I think we might miss beating a certain event, but that's all right. When the Civil War kicks off, we will get spawn-ins, as will our enemies. That's okay. We don't need a lot of divisions to make this happen. We actually want as few divisions on everyone's side as possible, because we will, of course, be naval invading. In general, in Civil War, we want as few divisions to start with everyone. So as we naval invade around, we're just going to naval right on the ports and the victory points. This isn't particularly difficult, and it is fairly predictable. There may be a division on a port here or there, but generally you'll find enough empty ports that you can move your troops around. And with just one more naval invasion, looks like we're about to have a very peaceful civil war, or at least a very low cost in terms of casualties for us and, of course, our friends who we just fought. That was pretty quick. That was pretty smooth. We will take the military spirit that lets us make cavalry divisions without any experience cost, so that we can eventually make this police no MP division, and we'll eventually turn it into a police division with military police on the front. It's, again, particularly helpful in my opinion as we move along to our world conquest. We do need to continue on the right side of the focus tree. That is a requirement for one of our achievements, so please try to follow these focuses that I've got on this line. Our interwar medium, relatively inexpensive, may seem ineffective, but this is really as good as a high-end tank comfortably into 1938, even 1939, because it gives armor to our divisions, makes them 4 times as powerful. They take half as much damage while doing twice as much. Our third research slot, 1937, I like it. I can live on 2 research slots, but 3 is really nice. We're also going to go into war economy. maybe a little bit early, maybe too early. Maybe we could have taken something else instead. But we're just going to get a little bit more factories for our upcoming war with Mexico, which is of course why we asked for docking rights in Honduras. After we complete the research slot, we now want to continue down to the very bottom of that political tree and generally stay right side. The third research slot, we're going to pick up this electrical engineering, and then that will be the last of the electrical research. Our Marines will eventually look like 25 with 8 battalions of Marines, 3 artillery, and then I'll eventually put tanks on the front. We are in historical, which means we can send an attaché to China, and that will give us a fair amount of military XP and a little bit of air XP, I think, along the way. Here is it. Probably one of the critical points, the naval invasion of Mexico. We can stick this pretty well. We have 4 Marine divisions, 2 on the port, 2 next to a port, and our cavalry divisions are pinning all along the coast to reduce reinforcements. We land. That's probably the most difficult part of this run. We've landed, so now let's get a nice little quick encirclement and start sending up the rest of our divisions so that we can move through Mexico. And Mexico puts up a little bit of a fight, but we're just going to fight our way through. We want to take this right side focus. Can you continue down the right side? I like the stability and political power much more than the other side, which is just, I think, a little bit more research. Is a little bit less stability. And here we are continuing down, nice and little encirclement, and with that, Mexico is largely taken care of. Another 100 political power. We're going to move toward commerce trading. That will help both our Marine doctrine, our Special Forces doctrine, but also later on our naval doctrine so we can improve our subs. Subs are very strong. We are not capitulating in Mexico. We are holding them. So I know it's kind of hard to tell. It's green on green, but we're going to give them little enclaves and slowly kill off their divisions, but not capitulate them. We want to hold that world tension level. There is a focus down here that's gated at 200,000 manpower. Bummer on me. I did not properly prepare my army, so I'm going to take a 35-day focus. This is a good focus anyway, lots of production. And in the meantime, turn many of these smaller manpower divisions into that military police division, that large division. They will gain manpower, and then we'll be able to continue down the path. Our second political power guy, well, there's actually 2 really good ones, and we're going to take the production efficiency cap fellow. He's very helpful, and so that will actually give us even more firepower. And then as we continue down, our third is the devoted communist. That's an easy one. The factory output is nice, but that 0.05% compliance gain, extraordinarily helpful on any type of a world conquest. As you can probably tell, we're preparing to naval invade Chile. I couldn't get naval supremacy around the corner, but I was able to make this landing on that port, which lets our main battle fleet extend down and get the port range so that we can land directly upon Chile. This focus, I think, is the highlight of the Communist Brazil path. It's the very bottom focus. It's a 35-day focus that lets you core all of South America and parts of Central America and the Caribbean. It is really the key to making this run so easy. And we want to continue down to pick up another efficiency cap. As we land on Chile, we land, of course, on the port, to the side of the port. I know it's kind of a broken record here, but this is the key to a successful naval invasion. And once we stick this landing, which we will, Chile is now ours. Aircraft, I prefer mixed role. I will eventually drop tanks on here, or put drop tanks. I don't quite have the air XP, but we're going to have bomb locks on the front and then machine guns in the second and eventually third slot when we get to 1940. All right, so we've held world tension low enough that we haven't gotten any guarantees, and now we're going to chain declare war. We have another focus that gives automatic justifications on 13 or 14 countries. So we're going to auto or declare simultaneously in all of the Central American and Caribbean countries, so none of them can be guaranteed. If that makes sense. I want to make sure we take those. For whatever reason, the game does not give us an ability to auto declare on Panama. And this is what it looks like left. We have got war goals on these South American countries. I'm going to check to make sure they can't be guaranteed. I don't think UK normally guarantees South America, so I think we'll be pretty well, even though world tension rises. And now we will capitulate Chile and Mexico. That does push up world tension, but that's okay. We took the countries we really needed to, and I'm not that worried about a guarantee in South America. UK, I don't think they're going to do that. And they did that. Okay, well, that's okay. They just guaranteed Ecuador, and that's kind of unfortunate because I wanted those factories, but it means they're less likely to guarantee the United States later, right? I think that's how that works, so more guarantees. So I'll trade Ecuador for the United States. It's okay. We can adjust. Naval invasion on Cuba. With each passing month, we are just becoming more and more powerful and harder to stop. And certainly smaller nations like Cuba, they can't stop us on the port, off the port. And that victory pointer on the eastern part of the island gives us a capitulation and annexation of Cuba. And since they're cores, we get all their factories, all their manpower. It's starting to look good. We will also land again, on the port, off the port. I might mention that Mexico is not part of our cores, but that's okay. The Great Chilean Earthquake. What a terrible event, but a really great event for us, and that's why we targeted Chile first. I wanted them by the time this event went off. I think it's worth 21% base stability. Well, let's go ahead and let's start justifying on Panama. Maybe the UK will guarantee them, but it's 65 days, and I think let's give it a try. And again, because it's a retake core state, we get a fast justification. Otherwise, our justifications take a long, long time. And now we're ready to start moving down these Central American countries. Again, as maybe in your game too, I'm sure you'll find no problem defeating them. A quick review of how we do Lend-Lease. We start by finding a country that we can give Lend-Lease to, in this case China, hit send, and then immediately go find a country that we want to Lend-Lease from. And in this case, if we have enough convoys, then we can just do it in a one transaction by just asking for convoys and the rest of the equipment, and then selecting, and we will get quite a bit of Lend-Lease from every country, well, it's not every country, but every country that we have improved relations with. Now we want to take the bottom left, or you can take it really anytime you want to after you get to the bottom. This gives us justifications on all the fascist countries, which probably should mean Central American and Caribbean countries, right? Not just South American. And that would make sense. That's how the other justifications worked. Meanwhile, we're continuing to move down, and now we've cleared all of, I guess, the 4 Central American countries except for Panama, or 5, I guess, including Mexico, the 4 chord. Ooh, so the UK is now European Colombia. That's kind of unfortunate. I didn't think they would do that, but, this game, it's still, it's going to mystify this to me, but I guess it does make sense after all. But that's all right, because if they're guaranteed, that makes it very difficult that UK will guarantee the United States, right? So as I went to Lend-Lease to Turkey, I forgot that you can only Lend-Lease where you're at war. So, hello, Bolivia. We're just going to launch a war. I'm not going to take you over right now, but that lets me now start the Lend-Lease with Turkey and any other country that we had improved our relations with. Panama, not a problem at all. Again, more cores, and as you can see, our factory count is climbing quite quickly. Let's go on into Uruguay. We've broken the 100. We now have triple-digit factories. This is, again, the advantage of the whole core plus instant justification. A lot of these countries actually have a fair amount of factories, and they will add up. With Uruguay destroyed, now let's just open up. Let's go take out Argentina. Argentina doesn't have the divisions to cover all of its fronts. It's still got that long border with Chile. So we're just going to walk our way around and deal with Paraguay as well. And we'll push our way into Buenos Aires. Argentina is doing the best they can as Bolivia is capitulated. They abandoned their home, so we just sent cavalry in behind them. Onwards and upwards. Argentina and Bolivia. We're also going to naval invade Venezuela. Venezuela actually, is a pretty strong nation. They've got a relatively small front, but because they've got some plains tiles, and at this point our troops are getting stronger and stronger, we now break 150 factories. We are extraordinarily strong. I mean, even compared to other majors in the world right now, as far as the number of mills we have. So we can take out Argentina, add their fleet to our mix, and we're rapidly becoming unstoppable. And on to, while attacking Paraguay, Venezuela capitulated, which should push us just close to, under 200 factories. I'm not sure why Paraguay, this seems to be in other runs as well. They just need to defend this the last little square, but that's just unfortunate. And here we are preparing to pick up our 4th research slot in 1939. That's pretty quick. It's nice to have extra research slots. Our invasion into Peru is a little bit tough. There's a lot of mountainous terrain, so I'm a little bit nervous, but there are also enough ports, and I've got a land border to the south. I mean, it's all around them, but more importantly, right along the port, so we'll just push on through. So I really like aircraft. Keep in mind that if you have CAS, they're only going to affect battles within that circle around them. So we want to monitor where the air battles are, where the land battles are, where the airports are, and if necessary, move those CAS aircraft close to land battles to ensure that we can get a relatively quick victory. And because we have so much aircraft, Peru falls without too much trouble there, but they do fight well. And with that, we have cleared all of our cores, or most of our cores. So let's start justifying on the United States, because UK now has 3 guarantees, I think, right now: Turkey, Ecuador, and Colombia, not counting Poland. I think Poland doesn't count anymore. I think we have a pretty good chance of getting an invasion off on the United States without a guarantee. We'll also justify in Germany, so that we're at war with Germany, and that way the United States will not join the Allies. We've got this. I'm actually really looking forward to taking out the United States, and they got a guarantee. All right, that's all right. That's all right. Even if they're guaranteed, I mean, we're pushing 200 mills, 200 factories, extraordinarily powerful. Even if they join the Allies, we'll just push on through. And look at that, that's their 4th guarantee. So that means UK had to have some extra political power hanging around. All right, that's all right. We can make this work. So as we go to war with Germany, let's see if now the UK will not invite us to the Allies. That's too bad. I was really hoping, of course. Let me dismantle my own faction and let's see what happens. And there they go. I wasn't counting on them, but it's a pleasant surprise that they decided to invite me to the Allies, because since they've invited me to the Allies, I can later on take over the faction in addition to the United States not joining the Allies. And keep in mind, we started with our justification with the United States before we joined the Allies. So when we actually attack into the United States, they see Canada as a potential threat, and they abandon their borders, which means we can just run rampant right through the United States. No challenge at all. And we also had a couple of collabs, so let's capitulate them and annex them. And I'm going to plan to try to get a puppet off on them, so I can later on get a little a bonus, a military advisor bonus. But I couldn't have the puppet option. I think it's because I was in the Allies and the game is treating me as a democracy. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with that part of it. But now we're pushing well over 400 factories in general. A lot of those, of course, are civs, 100 mills, 50 dockyards. You could do whatever you want at this point. Whatever strategy you want works, because you got 1 million in manpower. But since we're in the Allies, let's pick apart Colombia and Ecuador, shall we? Even though they've got guarantees by the UK, it's not going to matter because I'm in the Allies. And it looks like Ecuador and later on Colombia are going to join the Axis. Whatever, I don't really care. Oh, that was perfect timing, actually, though, because the UK just kicked me from the faction. Whew, that's actually nice, because if Colombia and Ecuador had not joined the Axis, there's a good chance they would join the Allies. So maybe I should have left them alone. If I was to do this run again, I would not attack them. I would just focus on the Axis. And it's a long, long, long hop into, I think it's Sardinia there, but we're going to naval invade all the way across the Atlantic and into the middle of the Med so that we can prepare to attack Germany. And we've got that long justification. So let's naval invade to the southwest of France. I'm a little concerned in a previous run I might have lost a troop or two on a naval invasion. So I chose this little spot because it's a little bit easier and I can get a lot of corners off on it. Once our justification with Vichy completes, let's attack and land into Vichy. Probably not necessary to go into North Africa, to left them alone, but it was nice to take those ports. We will be taking what was French Indochina, Vietnam and a few other countries, primarily for the rubber, to secure the rubber. And as we land a few more divisions, we can start pushing out. We've got a lot of divisions coming, but it takes about 30 days or so to cross the Atlantic. So we're just going to push up. We, I think, have more mills than Germany, if not very close to the same number, and we're much more efficient. So we just blow right through them. We have 27 with motorized divisions, encirclements here, encirclements there. There's really not much Germany can do to even contain what we've got. We can contest the air as well. As you see, we're getting 1,000 plus airplanes, which we can't get green air necessarily, but at least we can contest it so that our troops can move very quickly. And that's a nice encirclement. You can see Germany can't react quick enough to our cavalry and motorized, which are now just opening up. We will not capitulate Germany. We do not capitulate a fascist country if we can while they're at war with a non-fascist country. We're just going to hold them at bay and plan to naval invade England. The plan, of course, is to capitulate the non-fascist countries first in a multi-war peace conference to avoid the creation of new countries or puppets or odd things. Naval invading UK is relatively easy. They hold our core states, and in any case they're at war with the major, so it's a fast invasion and a very quick capitulation. We don't have a lot of war score, which would normally be bad news, but because these are fascist countries, we'll be picky. We're going to puppet one small part of the UK. I like to place them in Fiji, but if you like to place them in, wherever you want, the Bahamas, wherever sounds fun to you, we will puppet them in one spot and then just pass, and let the Axis countries just take as much as they want, because Axis countries, we'll just check. Oh, good, they are taking states. I probably should have kept a closer eye on this, but they are generally going to take states. They're not going to liberate states. So take as much as you want. I don't care. You can take everything, because then afterward I'll just go and do cleanup just to ensure that there aren't any lingering allies. I don't care if they took so much of the land. I will also select my puppet UK and create a faction, because I need to be in a faction with the UK when I capitulate Germany if I want to get the snake smoked achievement. And now they're in my faction, we will capitulate the Germany. Let's check. Yep, there's that puppet, and they are in our faction. So let's capitulate Germany. And now we've completed the snake smoked achievement, I think. Well, let's just finish off the Axis. It's getting overpowering, pushing 700 factories. I think by this point we're along the most powerful country in the world, and because we can now capitulate them or annex them, we can annex whatever they annexed. So it doesn't matter what Germany and Italy had annexed in the previous peace conference, because we just to take it for ourselves. Now we're completely overpowered. Not overpowered, I should say, just completely more powerful than any other country in the world, so you can really kind of do and go wherever you want. Which includes Russia. I'm largely just battle pounding through Russia. It's pretty obvious, I should think, at this point that there's nothing they can do to slow us down, and so we will capitulate Russia and move on to Japan. Our naval invasions, pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Japan is very much involved in the China War, so even if we didn't have so much firepower, we could still relatively easily land on them. And as usual, because we're in a multi-nation war, we are going to not capitulate the fascist country. We're going to try to hold them at bay. We'll destroy their troops just to make sure they don't cause any trouble, but our primary goal is to take out the non-fascist countries first. Attacking into China goes about as well as you might expect. They've been fighting Japan for 4 years or so, so we can comfortably land on them and then just unleash our motorized divisions, our cavalry divisions, race towards Sinking, just attack them from every which direction. During the peace conference, we don't have a lot of war score, so we're not going to get a whole lot, and of course Japan's going to puppet, but that's okay. Where did my troops go? I thought I had a bunch of troops in puppeted China. Oh yes, the teleported. I was prepared. I've been teleported before, so I prepared to have those troops move back home. So I had a bunch of cavalry divisions already waiting in the wings and the outskirts, so that once the teleportation completes, we can capitulate Japan and then just send those cavalry into China, and that's that. We have now capitulated the last of the starting majors in this game, which means the only thing we have left is to simply spend the next 5 or 6 years justifying on country after country after country until eventually we clean them all out. Switzerland, Turkey have slow justifications, but just speed 5 it, try not to worry too much. We do have 2 puppets we need to annex, so we can build on the Italian puppet, and then lend lease a lot of convoys to our Great Britain puppet, and then later on, when the autonomy level falls enough, we will annex him. I saved Tibet for last. We've got divisions all around them. And that's it. That's the bad ending achievement completed. We've completed quite a few other achievements along the way, maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5. That sure was a lot of fun. I really enjoy playing Brazil. I enjoy playing with these very powerful focuses. It's a large country with a lot of manpower and the ability to get a lot of equipment. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave below. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.